Hello, and a warm welcome back to The Content, the podcast that discovers the content behind various guests that join me each episode. And today we are accompanied by a superb guest. Having had experience playing at Manchester United's Centre of Excellence as a youth, she has played for Liverpool, Sheffield, and Doncaster. Fast forward to current times, and she is back where it all began, playing as a forward for Manchester United in the WSL. So, what has she learned during her career so far? What are her fondest memories, and what have been the struggles growing up as a female footballer? To share her story today is, of course, Miss Kirsty Hanson. Kirsty, a massive thank you for coming on. And I think we should start really with how are you and how are you and the team going into the new season, which is very nearly upon us?
Yeah, nice to meet you. I'm brilliant, thank you. Just had a full day of training, so I'm a bit tired, but the team, we're in a great shape. Just in halfway through pre-season, we just had a game at the weekend, so that was good. So obviously still a bit tired from that, recovering from that game, but I feel like there's a few fresh faces in the squad and very good vibes. So I'm looking forward to the season starting now.
Yeah, definitely. So how is obviously the transition between giving it your all at the back end of a season, having that time off, and then all of a sudden having to pick yourself up? Would you say that's probably the hardest bit of the season, really, the pre-season?
Yes, definitely. Obviously, you need, after the season's finished, you're already looking at next season, but you do need a break. So it's quite hard to switch off. So I had about 2 weeks off. You've got to try do nothing at all. I did different activities with my family and friends, which was nice. You just got to switch off in them times, as hard as it is to refresh and recover. And then pre-season, we after 2 weeks off, we start a program before we go in. So that's always the toughest, especially the first session when you run and you're like, oh, why am I doing this? You're like, oh, how have I only had 2 weeks off and I'm this unfit? But yeah, once you start getting to pre-season, start feeling a bit fresh, getting more minutes with the team, you finally feel a bit better about yourself. You're like, this is why I play the game.
Yeah, when the running stops and the balls are out, then you can have a little bit more fun, I guess.
Yes, definitely.
So we'll go back to the very beginning of your footballing journey. Not necessarily where you started playing, but just where did the love for football come from initially?
So I started playing on the street with the boys. I saw them kicking around with the football and their friends, and I didn't really play with any Barbies or anything. So I was like, oh, I may as well join in with them. So they let me join in. I really enjoyed it. And also my brother played football as well. And then they went to a local boys team, and I followed them and I went, can I join? And luckily there was already a girl in the team, so they said, yeah, sure, come along. And I think that's where I absolutely loved playing with the boys. I think it was just the fact where at the start they were like, oh, is she even any good? And then when you start scoring the goals, they're like, oh, she is good. And then start passing you the ball, and it's so much fun. And I think that's where I've got my physicality from, because playing with the boys at such a young age, I just loved it. And that's where I've got my toughness from as well, I guess.
Yeah, most definitely. So when did the transition come from not just obviously enjoying yourself, but then when did it sort of switch around for you to think, right, I want to start taking this a little bit more seriously than just a bit of fun?
Well, to be honest, I think with Manchester United and the under-17s, when I was there, I started really enjoying it. I started realising that, oh, maybe I'm quite good, I can get there. But unfortunately, there wasn't a women's team at that time, so I didn't know where to go. And that's when I went to Liverpool and Sheffield. And my first taste of first team football was at Sheffield. And don't think I necessarily enjoyed it, but then I went to Doncaster Bells, and I think that's where, because they were full time at the time, and I think that's where I started thinking, oh, I think I'm going to enjoy this if I put in the hard work, and and then it just went up from there.
Yeah, so going back a little bit, as you said about obviously being at United without the professional team at the end of it, how was that sort of like to cope with in terms of obviously, look, you're there at the end of the day to better yourself, to become a better player, but then a lot of the time we hear obviously stories of, right, the goal is to get into that first team, but then that goal wasn't actually there for you. So how was that actually like? So obviously, like I said, you want to be there to better yourself, but without a specific end goal, how was that sort of like to cope, especially at a young age?
Yeah, I think obviously at a young age you just want to enjoy football, so I think that's my aim. My main aim was that at the centre of excellence. But yeah, definitely the fact they didn't have a women's team, but I just kept hoping and hoping that they were going to put one in at that point. But I think I just wanted to obviously play well, so I just kept ensuring that I'm making sure I was getting better each week playing for the centre of excellence, and hopefully a team would come for me. And luckily Liverpool did, which is where I played for their development team. And I think I'm glad I did well at that age, because and obviously every like player got picked for a team, but I think it's like where your experience with it, and what you learn, and if you enjoyed it, and I think that helped me get to where I am now, and obviously not give up, and obviously keep hoping that the women's team would come in, and thank goodness it actually eventually did.
Yeah, so that leads me on nicely. Fast forward to 2018, I believe, and the Man United women's team was finally formed. So with your experience, obviously, as a youth with the United, was the decision just plain and simple, an easy one to take and become part of a wonderful project? And if I'm not mistaken, I believe there was probably around 6 or 7 players that joined United that obviously had experience at a younger level as well. So, like I said, was it a bit of a no-brainer for you?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as I got the phone call of Casey, I was like, I messaged all my family and friends. I was like, I'm signing for United. Didn't even sign anything, but I was like, I'm going. There was no second thought, because I support Manchester United as well, and obviously being an academy player and come up, and that's just a dream come true. And also, it's also for the younger generation as well. Especially now they've actually got a women's team to look up to. So I think the fact I did want to play for them and wanted to sign for them, but it's also just to show that if you do work hard, you can get there, because I'm quite privileged that I did quite well at the youth levels, and continue to do well for Casey to come and sign me. And yeah, it's all down to hard work, really.
And I think it's the imperative factor, isn't it, if you want to achieve any part of your dreams, really. So in terms of the actual playing career that you've had a brilliant track record. I realised when I was doing my research on you when it comes to debuts. You've scored in various competitions. You've had a lot of good memories. Is there any that stand out for you as your favourite memory in football so far?
Yeah, that's quite tricky. Obviously, signing for Manchester United's got to be up there. But also, yeah, just playing against the big teams as well. And just recently, last season, scoring the equaliser for against Manchester City in a big derby. That's just what, as a young player, you just want to do, and it was amazing. And especially to come off the bench as well. And it just shows that you've got to prove a point, and when you come on, you've got to be able to do these sort of things. So I think that was obviously a big one. And also making my Scotland debut as well. I played for the youth teams for them as well, and I think all down to Casey's hard work as well. She definitely helped me, built me into a much stronger mentally, physically, off the field and on the pitch type of player. And I think it's all about confidence, and that's something I need to work on. But she definitely helped me get there, and she's helped a few players now get to make their senior debut. So I think that was one of the main aims, and obviously a dream come true to play for Scotland. But that's obviously something I want to continue to do.
You've had experience playing at these incredible grounds that we can only dream of as children, really. So as you may be able to tell by the Man United shirt, I'm a massive Man United fan myself. So this one's a bit of a personal one for me. What's it like then to play at Old Trafford, and also what's it like to have the experience in playing in front of tens of thousands of people and up and down the country? Just take us through that feeling when you're first walking out, knowing, right, this is game time.
Yeah, obviously it's a dream come true to play for Manchester United, and especially, well, obviously not last season, definitely missed them last season, all the fans. But yeah, playing in front of so many fans. We played actually our first season in the WSL, our first game was at the Etihad, and there was over, can't remember how many people, don't know how many people there, over 10,000 or something. And that was something I've never experienced, and it blew me away, that. And I think that's what needs to continue happening in the women's game. But yeah, and it was just so surreal, and it was very hard. Like, you couldn't even think, and you couldn't even shout at the player next to you. So I don't know how the men do it, because it's so loud, and it wasn't even full at the Etihad. But yeah, like playing at the Old Trafford, that's a dream come true as well. It's a magnificent pitch, and especially as a Man United fan, that's something amazing to do.
So obviously, I think it's fair to say women's football has come on leaps and bounds over the last 5 or 6 years. I think for me personally, I'm not sure about everyone else, but it was when England had the brilliant run in the World Cup. I think they finished third, I believe. And it sort of opened a lot of people's eyes as to there's still the same feeling, there's still the same support and the same adrenaline that you'd get from the men's game. But what areas do you think perhaps still need improving in a wider aspect for the sport to make the game grow even more than it has already?
Definitely media coverage. Well, that's hopefully going to improve this season. Now we're on Sky Sports, which is amazing. But yes, sometimes I think, obviously you always know when there's a men's game on. It's all over social media, but you don't really see that in the women's game. But I think that's definitely something more that needs to be done. And I think also on social media, like club, like doing more stuff with players, like inside training and stuff like that, to engage with the fans more as well. So hopefully, I think that'll definitely improve this season. So I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully it just goes up from here.
The only way is up from here. So although, look, at the end of the day, you're incredibly successful, even if you won't admit it yourself. But as a female footballer, I imagine it hasn't been easy getting to the stage you are at now. So what have been the challenges that you faced to get to where you are today?
Definitely it's your mindset, especially for me. I've never been like a confident player. I don't think I'll ever be, no matter how hard I try, how hard I work on it. But yeah, it's about your mindset. If you like, you see, like for example, last season they signed Tobin and Christian, you can either go, oh, I give up, then I'm not going to get played. But then it makes you work even harder. I think that's what I did. Yeah, you have people saying that you might not be good enough, especially when I was younger. Some coaches be like, oh, she's not as good as the other players. But now looking back, a lot of them players don't play, or they're in lower league teams or whatever. So I think, yeah, it's definitely a mindset. You need to believe in yourself, ignore what others are doing. Don't compare yourself to others, because you bring something different to the team than other players. So if the coach wants this, I can do that, or if the coach wants that, you need to respect their decisions. So I think definitely your mindset, working hard, never giving up, and just, if you want to get to where you want to be, you've got to earn it. So that's by working hard for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, you've had a very decorated career, but you are still very young. You're 23, I believe.
Yeah.
Looking ahead then, what are the goals for the future? Not just, of course, for next season, but when you look back at it and it's time to hang your boots up, what do you want to look back at as a success really for yourself as a player?
So I think definitely being a regular starter for Manchester United. I want to stay there for as long as I can, and obviously play well consistently. I think that's something. Obviously, I'm still young, but I think I'm getting to the age where I need to be more consistent now. So I think that's something that I'd want to do. Like as soon as I come on the pitch, I know I'm going to do well. And also, obviously, want to get to qualify for the Champions League and get to a final. That would be amazing and a dream come true. Obviously, win more trophies with Manchester United and hopefully get to like a World Cup or Euro finals with Scotland. They've done it before, but I wasn't involved in that, so I'd love to be involved in that in the future.
Yeah, well, keep with the same attitude. I'm sure you'll most definitely get to where you need to get to. So just to wrap up, what for me anyway has been a wonderful podcast. If you could give a piece of advice to any younger females looking to get into football who are a bit nervous or apprehensive about it, from someone who has achieved their dreams, what would you say to them young females, perhaps even a younger version of yourself, just starting out, as you say, with the boys kicking a football around?
Yeah, definitely. For a younger player now, you just want to enjoy it when you're younger. And when things start getting serious, I think you just need to forget what others are saying, focus on yourself and just never stop working hard. Just do the hard work and success will come with it. So, yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed that chat, and I'm sure a lot of people will certainly have a lot of things that you've said that will resonate with all of them listening to this. So a huge thank you for coming on today. The very best of luck to you and the team for the rest of the season. And I do really think you're an absolute advocate for female football and just in general, really, to really give your dreams a go. And as you can tell, anything's possible if you do. So thanks once again, and the best of luck for the season.
Thank you so much. Nice to speak to you.
Well, that's all we have for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, please follow, like, subscribe on all the content, social media for more content by the content. Thanks to Kirsty. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in, and we'll see you again soon.